A Game of Thrones is a masterpiece of the fantasy genre. It was the perfect template for season 1 of the TV show and a perfect start for the A Song of Fire and Ice book series, which has sold over 90 million copies. But it's an intimidating novel. It's 700 pages long, with 9 point-of-view characters, so not exactly accessible for the average reader. I myself put off reading it for a long time, but when I finally did, I was hooked by the end of the first page and couldn't wait to read more. In this video, I'm going to read you that first page and then provide an analysis of what makes it so great. So, let's dive in. "We should get back," Garrett urged, as the woods began to grow dark around them. "The wildlings are dead." "Do the dead frighten you?" Sir Waymar Royce asked, with just the hint of a smile. Garrett did not rise to the bait. He was an old man, past 50, and he had seen the lordlings come and go. "Dead is dead," he said. "We have no business with the dead." "Are they dead?" Royce asked softly. "What proof have we?" "Will saw them," Garrett said. "If he says they're dead, that's proof enough for me." Will had known they would drag him into a quarrel sooner or later. He wished it had been later rather than sooner. "My mother told me that dead men sing no songs," he put it. "My wet nurse said the same thing, Will," Royce replied. "Never believe anything you hear at a woman's tit. There are things to be learned even from the dead." His voice echoed, too loud for the twilight forest. "We have a long ride before us," Garrett pointed out. 8 days, maybe 9, and night is falling." Sir Waymar Royce glanced at the sky with disinterest. "It does that every day about this time. Are you unmanned by the dark, Garrett?" Will could see the tightness around Garrett's mouth, the barely suppressed anger in his eyes under the thick black hood of his cloak. Garrett had spent 40 years in the Night's Watch, man and boy, and was not accustomed to being made light of. Yet it was more than that. Under the wounded pride, Will could sense something else in the older man. You could taste it, a nervous tension that came perilously close to fear. Will shared his unease. He had been 4 years on the wall. The first time he had been sent beyond, all the old stories had come rushing back, and his bowels had turned to water. He had laughed about it afterward. He was a veteran of 100 rangings by now, and the endless dark wilderness that the Southron called the Haunted Forest had no more terrors for him. Until tonight. Something was different tonight. I said earlier that I was hooked by the first page of A Game of Thrones, but I think it was those opening few lines that really did it. "Do the dead frighten you?" stands out in particular. It says so much. It promises the mystical, borderline horror elements of the series to come, while Royce's hint of a smile, which accompanies the line, instantly creates great character conflict. I also love the way Martin does so much world building in this first page, and the prologue in general. All delivered organically, no exposition dumps. We get a feel for the class system in place in Westeros, lords, lordlings and the commons. We also see the disdain with which women are treated, which helps set the medieval tone. We get references to important elements of the world and the lore, like the Night's Watch and the Wall, the old stories. But Martin doesn't feel the need to explain them to us. Instead, he leaves us to wonder what they are, and I found those questions hook me, pulling me deeper into the story. Ultimately, that's what the opening of any novel should be, a sincere promise of what's to come, and a host of questions to hook the reader. That's what sells books, and that's what gets agents and publishers interested in manuscripts. I really hope you enjoyed going through the first page of A Game of Thrones. Great First Pages is going to become a series in its own right, and I'm already working on a few videos on the writings of George R.R. Martin. If that sounds good to you, please do like this video, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment if you have any thoughts on what you'd like to see next. I know every single YouTuber asks you to do that, but when you're starting out on YouTube, it's hard. You feel like you're pouring your heart and soul out into the void, so every comment, every thumbs up, and every new subscriber means so much. If you got this far into the video, thank you for listening, see you next time, and keep writing.